Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Moms. I'm Murray Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our separate studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. Today, Murray, we're going to talk about the CARES Act.
The reason we are coming to you from the edge of the Great Red Divide is the virus that has shut down the world, COVID-19. And our government had done something fantastic, including a stimulus bill, or so they'd like us to believe that it's fantastic. However, there is there are many components of the bill that we think, how would you say it, Heidi?
Well, Murray, this is not how, as a progressive, not how I like my politics. I like everything pretty cut and dried. But I've come to understand in order to get anything out of the Republican Senate, you have to pat them down with pork. You have to spoon feed them pork, or Mitch McConnell is never going to let it onto the floor.
Yeah, you are absolutely right.
And Mitch has got the president's back, and the president is in trouble with Deutsche Bank right now. And we're going to talk about that at the very end in our wrap up. So I want to tell you to catch us on Demcast USA and on Heartland Mamas.
MAMAS.com. And anywhere you get your favorite podcast.
Right.
And I apologize.
Share.
The whole, I'm not wearing pants.
Murray.
I'm kidding, I am, but I've noticed that people are looking a bit raggedier, including myself and my own children. So apologizes to Angela McDonald for...
camera ready and Heidi Henry, not always a thing.
Camera ready and pandemic, but because we love our viewers, like, subscribe, and share because we love you so very, very much.
So
we make the effort to shower before our shows.
I did, because it's been really nice here in Illinois, in northern Illinois, and I, for the last 2 days, wore my very favorite outfits ever, jean shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, and I saw that.
Now it got cold, so I had to don a sweater. Anyway, so let's talk about this $2.2 trillion with a T dollar CARES Act, shall we?
Sure, let's dive right in.
Okay, well, the CARES Act was supposed to do a few things, Marie. It was supposed to help shore up our unemployment, because we knew we were going to have massive unemployment, and we have the highest record of unemployed people filing ever in the history of our country. And how many times have we told the Trumpettes and the Trumpers that the Trump economy was a bubble filled with hot, steamy air, and that one day a little bitty thing is going to come along called a virus. Well, we didn't know what it was going to be, but it was going to pop and shit was going to hit the fan. How long have I been telling you that, Marie? Like for a year. So here we are. And sure enough, it didn't take much. It took him being his usual stupid, narcissistic, ignorant, arrogant self for his economy to poof, just like everything else he touches. What's that book? Everything Trump touches dies. I mean, this is, I don't know. If you haven't read that, Marie, you should pick it up, because it's one of those things. Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you about this. It was supposed to help shore up our healthcare systems. It was supposed to provide testing, quarantine, ventilators, all kinds of things for our hospital systems to have. It was supposed to give people like me, who are self-employed but file taxes, and other people who are now unemployed, or anybody in the United States that files an income tax return. It was supposed to give them a little bit of money to help them get by while this economy's in the dumper. It also gives another $600 per week on top of a full salary to those that are out of work right now, which is really a remarkable and wonderful thing. And for people who don't understand how we got to $1,200 per adult, it is the federal minimum wage times 40 hours times 4.3 weeks in a month. So that's why $1,200. Can you imagine trying to survive on $1,200, Marie? I certainly could not. So out here where I live, you can't even pay your rent and utilities for $1,200. I mean, that's it. That's all you'd have. So the other thing it was supposed to do, it gave $130 billion to hospitals for PPE and ventilators. It did the Marshall Plan for hospitals and workers, where, which is the unemployment, full unemployment plus 600. It was $400 billion in corporate oversight for um, oh god, I just lost my train of thought. But for small business loans. So for a business like mine, which is really hurting right now, um, it helps offset our costs. Now, I still have to pay it back. I can pay some in wages to the people who work for me, but all the rest of it I have to pay back with interest. I don't. It's not money I get for free. So that was the whole thing. And when it did design this corporate loan program in addition to the small business loan, the corporations throughout America that are also suffering, and we're thinking about the hospitality industry, restaurants, bars, airlines, trains, that sort of thing. They also needed to be able to borrow money at a very reasonable rate. And some of it they can offset and get as a grant if they use it to pay their employees so they don't have to go on unemployment. So, Murray, those are the good parts of the plan. But
Right.
as we know, there's always an opportunity for the Republicans to stick their little hands in and try to pull some of the money, tax money, out of the cookie jar. So, do you want to talk
You're
about some of those
kidding.
things, Murray?
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in this bill. And one of the things that we talked about was how in the original stimulus, the House went in and put in that there is no, or that Trump corporations and family businesses and those
Son in
directly
laws.
associated with the government and his businesses cannot profit or receive loans, etc., for their businesses
Mm-hmm.
because of a financial double dealing. And so I believe he came out a while ago, or like 2 days ago. When was that,
It was at
Heidi?
the bill signing. He said that he struck that statement that he wasn't allowed to take money. Now, here's the
So
problem.
he's saying that he struck that
I don't think
statement, which I don't think he can do.
he
Like
can't.
that's not a part of it. When a bill gets to,
The president's
I
desk.
could I could be
I don't think we have.
wrong.
I don't think we have line item veto, and that would be a line item veto. And we,
Right. I
ladies,
know governors do.
yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are checking to see if what he says he did by striking the provision that says
If
him
he actually
and
did
his
it.
family can't profit from this. We don't think he
Two,
can do it, but he has proven that he
we
can
need
break
to
the
double
law
check
regularly and not and
with
just get away with it.
impunity. I mean, let's take a look at what where we are right now with him. Okay, so even if even if he was not able to strike that provision, he still has found a way to enrich himself at the expense of those of us who really are in that situation, and that is by firing IGs. He's going on
Yeah,
a revenge tour,
right.
kicking out anyone and everyone who's done or said anything contrary to him in the last 2 months.
It's I
It's
swear
another purge. It's
it's like
after Vindman. It's like the next after the Vindman purge.
yeah, it's just like dealing with Kim Jong Un. Oh, he said my part was crooked. Yeah, I must fire him. You know, it's just the most ridiculous piece of work I've ever seen. And the latest one, Murray, is he fired Glenn Fine, and Glenn Fine is the IG that was put in charge of oversight for this slush fund of money that is allowed to be that's allowed to be
Distributed
distributed.
for personal
Businesses,
or for
not
business
small
loans.
business. These are big business loans. We're
Business
talking
loans, which
automakers.
covers, you know, it covers cruise lines, which Heidi and I completely disagree with since
They
none of
don't
them are
pay
incorporated
taxes.
in the United States.
Right.
They don't pay taxes. They don't employ American workers because then they would have to adhere to American law. So they're huge, nasty scumbags. I get the airline industries, and a lot of it, some people are complaining about things, and I understand the frustration. Like when you see that the National Endowment for the Arts got what? What was it?
So 25 million. Hang on, let me look.
So maybe they got 20. I can't remember the number, but
Yeah.
what that does though is that gets filtered down to the states, to the counties, So those areas where programs will help
Right.
the communities ravaged by COVID. It's
So,
not like, ballerinas got a raise
no.
and you're taking money out of hardworking Americans' pockets. It's money to keep those programs that are essential for communities
Right.
running.
It's
That's what people don't understand.
$75 million to PBS, $75 million to the National Endowment for Arts, and that is spread across 50 states and our Commonwealth. 25
And our territories.
in our territories, and $25 million to the Kennedy Center for the Arts. Now, people are like, "Oh, arts." No, we need arts. PBS helps children read and learn and count and basic things. There's all kinds of music and entertainment and things that our children need in addition to reading, writing, and arithmetic. And we all know that. So let's pull up our big boy pants and acknowledge that. So
Okay, so I do have to point out a couple of other things in here that just don't make any sense to me.
okay.
So bear with me here. One that just doesn't make any sense to me is that we have a nation with educational disparities and inequities that are
Oh, I know
ridiculous.
where you're
And
going.
most of our school districts don't have technology. Their kids don't have technology, or their kids can't afford, or they don't have wireless.
Right. No
And you are
broadband.
giving $30.8 billion
Billion. Right.
to education.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. That's it.
When we are giving, okay, what's even more frustrating is the election security. So we know
That was another line
with
item.
any pandemic, anything is going to become a chance for grift, a chance to upend a system. So as we're going through this and we're upending our system, you know what? We don't know what kind of interference is going to happen in November from our government, from outside, and we are only going to give 400 million,
Yes.
400
That was
million to
10,
to
10,
election
10.
security.
Mitch McConnell would only give Nancy Pelosi 1/10 of what she had asked for because she had asked for
I
$4 billion.
can't.
So
I can't even.
we
I can't
we
even.
also had to send Marie 350 million only, and I think this could have been more, to the immigration crisis that Trump created at the border to prevent the COVID from spreading
Oh,
and the
only
immigration.
350 million?
I don't know how they think they're going to get it done for that, but they
Right.
did.
And
But
how much did the churches get?
well,
Let's talk about the churches, Heidi.
okay.
Churches.
So because we have separation from church and state, but
No,
our
we do not.
no, we
It
know we
is a
don't.
myth. We do not have separation of church and
Well,
state. It has been eroded away against, giving churches political voice
well,
and not taxing them like
right.
corporations screwed us. There is no such thing. And having a president like,
Dotard 45.
I can't even, there's so many names, it's so hard to pick. But then when you've got right wing ideologues, such as the right wing Christian conservative movement, including Betsy DeVos, and giving out money to charter schools that are predominantly overly Christian, and come on.
Well, Marie, there is a slush fund for not-for-profits that the churches can tap into, which is 350 billion. Now, I have a sibling that's the head of a very
Whoa,
large nonprofit.
whoa,
Yeah.
whoa,
Whoa.
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 Three, I get it.
Yeah.
350 billion
Right.
for nonprofits.
For nonprofits, right? That they can tap into now ostensibly to get loans that they'll have to pay back. Now, if they use it for payroll, they don't have to. But guess which 501c3, Marie, is not allowed to borrow money. Guess which one? I'm going to tell you. Guess you're going to be saving the babies while they spread STDs all over the United States. We're not going
Look
to.
at how well it worked in Indiana,
Yeah.
Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Science, you stupid.
Right? So they're going to not allow Planned Parenthood to have any of this access
Planned
to this money.
Parenthood can't apply for a
No.
loan or a grant
But
to help them
Franklin Graham
provide
can,
services.
and Marco Rubio put
But
this in.
but 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 Pastor McScrew you over in Florida with his 1,000 megachurch, send me money, evangelical, right wing, I don't give a flying fuck who gets infected as long as you pay me, asshat can?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
The
I'm coming.
organization that prevents unwanted and
Oh my God.
unplanned pregnancies to prevent abortion cannot
And
get
we
money.
know that when we have prevention, abortion rates drop
Hello,
dramatically.
Colorado.
Hello, frickin' states all over the country. Look at the teen pregnancy rate. Come on, people. Don't be so stupid.
I have used over and over again my friend Jim Rohn's phrase, you've got to be smarter than that. But if you're a right wing nutbag, you don't get that. Now, listen, Murray, here's another real goody that you missed. $1 billion is going to the airline industry for their recycling program.
Uh, okay.
I don't know if they don't have trash pickup and recycling pickup now, but apparently we're giving them $1 billion to make sure they get that right.
Well, I guess if they're not, I mean, they employ people to do that, so they probably have to pay employees
Honey, they
who
already
are
do
not
that.
working.
And they're not flying anywhere that now, although I do have a friend of my son's is a commercial pilot for one of the big airlines and flew an empty plane around the country from one end to the other and then flew one guy back the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they can't cancel for some odd reason. Okay, so we're going to give another $250 million to the IRS to handle this money that we're dispersing, the $1,200 per person.
Mhm.
We are going to give a special stipend to L'Oreal Cosmetics, who's making alternative sunscreen. Guess what state they're based in, Marie? Guess what state?
Oh, um, huh.
Special stipend. Who's the
Yeah,
king of
just
special stipends? The Grim Reaper himself, Mitch McConnell.
Kentucky. Yep.
And the ag industry, the industry that I'm in, and because of the branch of ag that I'm in, I will get none of this. The industry that Trump has blown to pieces will get
Is the
another.
dairy?
Well, no, all agriculture will get a special $9.5 billion. Plus, they're going to give another $14 billion to ag. He wants to be sure and pay off the farmers before the next election. And I'm talking about all the Republicans because that's their base. So there's some good things in this bill, but then there's some sneaky little clauses in here. I have to tell you, Murray, my belief is that in order to get anything done, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were only able to do so much because the Republicans always have their hand out for more. You can buy my
Well, that's
vote.
politics in
Well,
in general. I mean, that's how it originally started. Is everyone's advocating for their own area, the own people they represent, and it's
their own
very
bridge to
diverse.
nowhere.
So you give and take, and that's what it's not perfect, but it's good, and we can always make it better. And I think people get very angry at good anymore. I believe that good isn't good enough, and I agree good isn't good enough.
Yeah.
But I feel I'm really torn on this because I feel like we get caught in a reactive cycle. Heidi, you know we talk about this
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Instead of being proactive,
Well,
instead of thinking with this bill, I know it was a crisis, I know it was an emergency, but I think that this next bill needs to have a lot more foresight and self propelling
not
plans
self-dealing because
because
we're getting a lot of self-dealing in this one.
well,
So,
yeah, and not it's absolutely self-dealing, but not just self-dealing. I think that so great, you're going to give everybody $1,200. Yay!
it's a
You made the
$1,200
point.
bribe to look away from the $1 billion for air, recycling program. Are you freaking
But
kidding me? I can barely get
I mean,
curbside out by me. So
but what I'm saying is, yeah, you're right. I mean, and e- I totally lost my train of thought.
well,
You got me off track,
I'm sorry.
Missy.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate why we wrap up here that we've given Trump a huge slush fund to do whatever he wants with, because without oversight, if he indeed has taken out this provision for him not to be able to financially benefit from this, or his family, if without Glenn Fine he's able to put a sycophant in to Mnuchin, or, oh God, worse yet, Kushner, to oversee this and make sure they get as much of it as possible. And here's why that worries me, Marie. As we know, Trump,
Because it has Trump's name anywhere near it,
well,
anything
he's
with Trump near it makes me worry.
everything he
I'm sorry.
touches dies. I mean, he's gone through 6 bankruptcies and he's only 70 something years old. But here's the reason I think that he fired Glenn Fine. Blah, 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 I can't talk. The day that Deutsche Bank told him, or he filed with Deutsche Bank, that he needed an extension on his loan, Murray. And Deutsche Bank financed for him the Jarrell Golf Course in Florida, which we know is not doing well. They financed for him Trump Tower Chicago, which I flipped off
Which is
myself.
not doing
It's not
well.
doing well. They can't rent out the retail
No.
space on the bottom floor at all.
Well, and they can't sell the condos.
No. Well, who wants to live there? He put his
Freaking a
name on the sign.
gold giant. Yeah,
Ugly.
no, not in Illinois.
Not in Chicago. We don't play
When
that.
he said he was doing that, and the city's like, yeah, I'm like, Rom said, yeah, I'm like, I don't think that's a really good idea. It
Rom
doesn't
told
seem
him
like a
not to
good
put
fit
his
to
name
me.
on it, and then he did. So, and
And not a good fit.
then the other thing Deutsche Bank financed for them was his DC International Hotel, which he's making all the people that come from out of the country that want to
Stay
do
at
business with him have to stay there if they want to see him. They won't get an
and
audience with
hold
him
their receptions, right?
right there.
Yeah,
Now,
but you know what, Heidi? I know the emoluments clause really sets you off, and you get so,
yeah,
and you rightly so. You have every right to get pissed off about the violations of the emoluments clause, but actually, I look at it anymore and just go, well, yeah, all right, that's just one more thing, because it has become so commonplace that everything that he does is some level of enrichment for him, his family,
yeah.
or his friends, and to an obvious point where we can prove it and yet nothing will happen.
Nothing.
So
He's
I
he's
get frustrated with
Teflon.
people and legislators making, well, this is going to
Excuses.
happen and that's going to happen. No,
Yeah.
and even
Nothing
those
will
fighting
happen.
it,
Nothing will
no, there
happen.
you have no teeth. You don't even have the judicial system
No.
right now.
No.
You have nothing. There is
Nothing.
no recourse. If he said, I'm not leaving on January 3rd, there is no recourse for that. Because in the Republicans' mind, it does not explicitly say in the Constitution that on a day, if a president refuses to
Yes, it
leave,
does. It says that.
they'll twist it.
I know they'll
Nah,
twist it, but it
man.
says that Nancy Pelosi is in our president. That's what it
Yeah,
says.
but yeah, I know, but not really. That's only a guideline, Heidi.
No,
It's
well,
not actually.
everything for Trump is a
It's
guideline, and no
It's
guidance at
not a
all.
law, Heidi. It's a suggestion.
Murray,
The
he's
Constitution was totally suggestion, and laws only work. I always used to think how interesting it was when you give a deposition or in court, you take an oath, right? You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And a part of our criminal justice system is perjury, lying under oath. People can get fined, they can
yes.
go to jail,
Uh
they
huh.
can be arrested. And but I've always thought, even before he took office, I was like, so what if somebody does? I mean, really, what are you going to do? And
Well,
we've seen what happens.
Mitch
Nothing.
McConnell will do nothing
Nothing
because
happens.
Mitch McConnell is so busy garnering wealth and power for himself that he doesn't care what else happens. But I want to expound a little bit on the financial problems the Trump organization is in. And you have to understand that the Trump organization is in trouble not because he's president, because when you look
Because
at
he was a horrible failed businessman
right,
from the beginning of time,
right.
because he bankrupted the money his daddy gave him and he had to get more money from his daddy
I
when his
know.
dad finally cut him off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you preach to the choir, baby girl.
Well, remember when he was trying to reopen the country for Easter? Okay.
Yes.
So do you want to know how he was going to make his payment for April to Deutsche Bank? Actually, it was March's
Of,
payment because he's late.
of course
He
he did.
he had this elaborate, lavish brunch planned at the DC hotel. Now he's been trying to sell the lease on that hotel because it's losing money. Even with all of his grift and making world leaders stay there and hold receptions there.
And including having the Secret Service have to stay at his properties
Yes.
all across the country,
Right. And it's not for cost. They instead of paying about
world.
$58 in
And they pay
cost,
like 2 times the
700.
premium.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And but he had this lavish big Easter brunch plan there. And it would have generated enough money just from that one brunch. That's how expensive it was. And all the Republicans were going to go, and that was going to pay his March payment to Deutsche Bank and April. Then he called in and he made the Secret Service pay up front for the golf cart rentals coming up. Okay, that's how he was going to make those payments. Now he can't sell the lease on his hotel. He can't host a brunch because people are freaking dying because he's inept and stupid. And he's up the creek, so he had to go and ask them for an extension. And then he fired Glenn Fine. Do you see how this is going? He just wants a slush fund. This is more money than he's ever
Girl, I
had.
know.
He's
I
never
know.
had, I don't think he's ever had $1 billion, much less $1 trillion. And he's just thinking, how can I avoid paying that $1,200 to each person, adult, and put it in my pocket? Because,
So that's what we need to do. We need to ask our viewers, our listeners, our viewers on Demcast USA, on Twitter, Facebook. We need you to let us know if you get your stimulus, whether it's direct deposited or it's a check in the mail, which may not come for like, I don't know, a year.
you
But
know,
anyway,
wait,
we want to know.
what worries me, Marie, is you're giving all these people that have nothing $1,200 each, and the stores are closed. They're all going to go out next week and buy shit. Seriously, this is not a good idea right now. Stay home. Stay home. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to us. We hope we've given you some interesting information on what is in the bill, the CARES Act. We also know there
They
will be
only
another
care
one
about
coming
people
up.
not richer than not as rich as us. I mean, you know what I mean. They only really care about rich people. The rest of us, it's a $1,200 bribe. Don't mistake it for anything else.
Yeah, I don't even think it. I don't even. Yeah, it's. Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So be sure to like, subscribe, and share. We have a couple things coming up here. We're going to do a couple of deep dives, including continuing our series on the ousting eight,
Yes.
most vulnerable senators. We're going to be doing some shows on what democracy is and what being a Democrat is, particularly now that Bernie Sanders has dropped out of the presidential race, and we're going to bring some friends on. So tune in, like, subscribe, share, because it's really important.
Yeah.
If you do that, we don't make any money. We do all of this out of our own pocket and when we travel and everything. But if you love us and you are not hurt by the pandemic, feel free to like, subscribe, share, or donate.
Send that
It's
$1,200 to us.
any Republicans out there that want to get socially, give socialism to us, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
We don't qualify for a grant.
No. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks so much,
Thanks for
guys.
tuning
Again,
in.
Heartland Mamas.
Okay. Take care. Heartland
Bye.
Mamas, MAMAS.com. Catch us on Demcast. And I'm driving, so it's going to take a minute for me to get out of here. So
Okay. Good.
I'm working it.
Do a little dance.
All right. See you later.
Shirt.
Okay.
Vote, vote, vote.
See you later now.
Bye.
Bye.